So the latest hype in the monitor world has been 27 inches at 4K resolution and a 240Hz refresh rate in OLED, the hottest monitor tech out. Now, why is this important? It's because with a 27-inch display, you'll be able to get a higher pixel per inch, meaning more density of your pixels, which leads to an ultra sharp image compared to a 32-inch and a 4K and above. Now, Alienware just dropped this new model, the AW2725Q. I've been testing it, so let's see if this should be your next monitor. The pricing is coming in at $900. Usually with Alienware, it's on the lower end of the pricing because they don't really offer too many extra features on their panels. Pretty much they take a Samsung QD OLED, put it in their body, add a heatsink on it with a few quality of life improvements, and that's about it. So if you don't care about a 27-inch competitive mode or UMLB technology like we've seen in Asus, then you can save a couple of $100s by just going with an Alienware monitor. Now, Alienware has changed their design philosophy a little bit. It's less blocky, more smooth now, and comes in this sexy new navy color as well, which I really like. Power buttons on the right, and there's a nipple in the middle to get through the menus. You can go left, right, up, and down. The stand is also really nice this time around. It doesn't take up too much desk space. You can tilt it forwards and backwards, up and down, or even sideways, whatever you prefer to get your proper angle. In the menus, you'll find the typical stuff like brightness and contrast. What I want to look at here is the HDR settings. In the HDR settings, there's two that people keep going back and forth between. That's the HDR Peak 1000, which allows the monitor to hit its 1000 nits in certain parts of the monitor, and only small areas of the monitor can hit that 1000 nits. The monitor becomes washed out overall when you do turn this on. Don't be alarmed, but when you do go full screen, it does go back to its original OLED contrasty look. The HDR 400 True Black has a peak brightness of 400, but improves the contrast and looks better in my opinion than the regular HDR settings. Now, between the two, I didn't notice a huge difference between the two, but if I had to choose, I think I would give the slight edge to the 400. The contrast just looks slightly better on it to my eye, and I'd rather watch movies in that mode than on the HDR Peak 1000. So the contrast ratio on the OLED monitors are crazy, and that's just the difference between the brightest part of the image and the darkest part of the image. And they can go pitch black in the blacks and then also very bright in the brights, so it creates this very dynamic image. And the HDR just accentuates that a little bit, but the OLED screen looks so good as is. The HDR only adds a little bit of extra oomph to the image, but it's not gonna like blow you away. And before we go on, I just want to say that this is one gorgeous display. This QD OLED looks fantastic. It has a semi-gloss on it, and I know a lot of you guys out there actually prefer the gloss because it actually makes richer colors, and I personally think that everybody should be moving over to an OLED unless you're like a professional gamer that has to be on a 24-inch monitor because that's what you're going to be playing in your tournaments, or if you're a person that just prefers 24 inches for gaming. But I think 27 is the real sweet spot for gaming. There's just too many benefits, like the quality of the image that you're getting for your gaming, the response time of 0.03 milliseconds. There's barely any ghosting on this. They're at higher refresh rates now, at higher resolutions. The prices are coming down on them. Burn-in protection is getting better. Man, like, now is the time to get in on OLED if you haven't already. So first and foremost, if you're on a TN or you're on an IPS, definitely consider getting some type of OLED monitor. It doesn't have to be this one, but I think that you will be 100% blown away once you get it and once you actually get used to using a bigger monitor. Now, this features 99% of the DCI P3 color space, which provides more color richness than sRGB. That'll pay off big time when you're watching movies or you're creating content or just gaming. And in the menus, they do have this mode where you can switch to creator mode, and then you can go to whatever color space that you need for your editing. So that I like that they actually kept creators in mind here. Definitely going to be using this when I'm editing my videos. All right, so next up I want to talk about 4K 32-inch versus 27 inches. So the previous Alienware monitor that I reviewed, the 3225QF, had a pixel per inch of 140, and this one has a pixel per inch of 166. This means that there is just going to be little to no pixelation to the human eye, which is going to look exceptional. Text is going to look really smooth, and images will have no discernible pixels. Let me tell you, this is one beautiful monitor. Like, if you want to see your games like you've never seen them before, in a sharpness you've never seen them before, almost like you're in a movie almost, definitely check out this monitor. And don't get me wrong, the 4K 32-inch already looks sharp, but this just takes it to a whole nother level. Now, one area where 32 beats 27 inches in 4K is just the overall usable area. Text is just way too small on a 27-inch 4K monitor, so you have to use a higher scaling like 125 or 150. But in doing so, you're gonna lose a lot of real estate that you would get from a 4K monitor at just a regular scaling. The main use of 4K here will be during your games to create a sharper image. It will benefit somewhat as you can see your content and movies in 4K as well, but the downside really is just that real estate that you're not gonna get here. All right, so dropping back down to 240 Hz after playing on a 480 Hz OLED for the last 2 months, I can definitely tell there is a difference between the two. The 480 just looks and feels a lot smoother overall, especially for first-person shooters. People just look that much clearer and I can see every movement that they're making. This one, I don't know if it's just my eyes are so used to 480, but it looks like they're jumping a little bit, or it looks a little bit choppy now. You really have to go up and then come back down. If you're coming from like a 144 Hz and going to 240, it's gonna look faster. If you're coming from a 360, it's not gonna look as bad going down to 240. So the system that I tested the monitor with was the 5950X and the 3090, and I was able to hit 400 frames in Valorant still while running this on the high settings, 4K 240 Hz, if that gives you any idea of what it will take to take advantage of this monitor. So definitely a 50 series card with a newer gen CPU definitely will handle this and then some. So if I had to tell you what direction to go in, I do believe you can use this monitor for first-person shooters. It does look fantastic and the performance is great, especially if you're okay with just going with 240 Hz. If I have to choose between the two, I would go 480 Hz 1440p myself, mainly because I play first-person shooters and I'm super competitive. I like to have the competitive edge over my opponents, and I'm roughly getting the same real estate as I would on a 4K on my desktop with the scaling. So if I'm a pixel peeper and I really care about how my game looks, then yeah, obviously take this one. It creates the best image possible. And in terms of immersion, 32 inches is going to give you way more immersion. It's going to look way more epic than the 27-inch 4K monitor. Now, if I wasn't playing first-person shooters and I was just playing AAA titles, I definitely would think about doing the 32-inch over this. Actually, I probably would. So like I said earlier, Alienware just gives you what you need, no frills. What you're getting here is a QD OLED that looks fantastic for movie watching, content creation, and most importantly, gaming. In a super sharp 166 PPI 4K image with a high 240 Hz refresh rate. This is going to appeal to a lot of people, but like I said, keep in mind that this screen of this size, 4K, you're gonna really only see the benefits when it comes to gaming. You won't really get that real estate that the 4K is known for. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it on this video for the new Alienware AW2725Q. If you guys enjoyed the video, I have some more relevant content here for you guys to check out. It has been your boy BT. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.